These girls think they own this world, showing off their bodies like bitches in heat.
Sluts like you never live long.
Bitches like you love teasing people for money, huh? You all can go to any extent for money. I should have choked that bitch right in her sleep that day.
Get on, you dumb bitches. Whose idea was it to delete my comment? Fuck off, you creepy jerk.
You're fired, you bitch.
Do your parents know that you're a whore? You are one hell of a bitch, Emma. How do you sleep at night,
And
Emma?
cut off her left ear. I have no interest in marrying your son or being your daughter-in-law.
You crazy bitch!
No sane person will date either one of you.
You bitch!
You'd be nothing but a lonely little bitch. That was more than I could take.
Let's get this asshole.
Will you please tell me what's going on with you? How dare you? Who do you think you are, you jerk? I swung the bat hard onto his head. What bullshit is that? Out of nowhere, Mr. Clayton jumped into her grave and started sobbing like a child. He screamed with the sudden turn of event, but the coach suddenly grabbed her neck and gave a huge punch on her nose. Mrs. Clayton fell on the ground, bleeding to death.
A fear curled up into his eyes once he realized he is the target now. You will remember my face for the rest of your limping, pathetic life.
Apparently, Miss Williams had been cheating as she had an affair with another man. Her daughter Hannah once caught her mother with a man in her father's absence. The man, who was already suspicious of his wife, didn't believe the story. The woman and lover were taken to jail, but there were too many mysterious coincidences. We heard laughing while she played, but within minutes, her laughing turned to screams. Daddy, Daddy, let me out, I'm stuck. Get away from me, leave me alone, Hannah. I don't like this game. My wife began to scream at me to do something as she feared for the worst. So I back like the greedy coward he was. What the fuck are you doing, man? Don't play like that. I really don't want to hurt you, man. And I reached for the nearest lamp, and I brought it down on his head with all the force I could muster.
I picked up the metal flower vase from the table near the couch and bashed his head with it. She grabbed the table lamp nearby and threw it at his head.
And Adam killed her by strangling her to death.
The sturdy man put his hands through the window and choked me.
She couldn't even cry for help. The only thing that came out of her were raspy rattles in a vain attempt to breathe as he squeezed the breath from her lungs. Her body started to shake like fish out of water, and suddenly Casey held her rope and tried to take it off, but oh, my little sister, she couldn't. It was tied so tightly that her feet kept swinging in the air. She was choking in front of my eyes. As soon as I got near the jungle gym, I saw the scariest sight of my life. Lily was lying on the ground, and Mindy was choking her to death. Having gotten another
I was
opening,
about to get out and lick my cheeks with his blood-soaked tongue. Mrs. Cooper screamed at the I jumped from my seat, screaming at the top of my lungs, and then everything went black. Blood splattered on the white wall above Rosie.
Madeline screamed at the top of her lungs seeing this.
not wasting a single second, I bolted to the door and bashed my head on the kitchen desk, seeing the bloody scene. I dropped the heavy metal
opportunity to backhand hard again on his head, and I fainted, screaming one last time. As soon as I reached Rosie's house, I heard and began dragging me towards him.
When my parents got home, my mother shattered on the floor. Lily jumped from her bed screaming, and I too started. My phone dropped to the ground, and
his girlfriend screamed in terrible pain.
Finally remember. I screamed in pain.
And I immediately heard my wife screaming out loud. I looked like crazy. That time, the man had pulled Marzia into the depth of the... I knew that if I didn't catch her soon, she would float away due to the water current in time. Suddenly, I noticed...
Feeling horrified, I screamed at the top of my hands, grabbed my feet, and started to pull me back screaming at the air. There was nothing, but I was being pulled...
And went to check the camera. There was footage in its memory. One by one, I played those videos. Jason torturing girls in this room. So this is what his Netflix and chill date is. Bringing innocent girls into his house in the name of watching movies on Netflix, and then putting them through hell. The man was arrested with the charge of kidnapping, abduction, and murder. The man got convicted for the charge of abduction and murder.
He is now rotting in jail for a charge of attempt to murder.
He's now been charged with life imprisonment. My stepmother was arrested shortly after.
The day his girlfriend got sentenced for first-degree murder charges, the cops finally arrested Sam from the school gym. He jumped the school wall and got into the gym somehow. They took him into custody before he...
The cops came and arrested this guy and caught Miss Rebecca. When they questioned her, we came to know that Miss Rebecca was behind all of the
They caught Pierce and sentenced him to 25 years. He stabbed Jason in the stomach, but I grabbed one of the bottles and threw it at Pierce. I got him right in the face.
You crazy freak! I jumped on him and stabbed him with the same knife he stabbed my neighbor to death. Blood started pouring like a fountain, and his body trembled like roadkill. I kept stabbing him until his entrails came out from his stomach.
Derek, call 911. He fell backward, grabbing his nose.
She fell on her face, breaking her nose. Where do you think you're going? But before she could finish the sentence, her body caught fire.
Sitting on the floor in the middle of the room was our friend, Isabella. She was battered, bruised, and her left eye was swollen shut. Her shirt was torn off, and she was crying, tying up that drunk girl's hands and feet. She was laying on the ground, covered in dirt. Her one eye was heavily swollen that resulted from a punch. She was bleeding from her lips, too. That crazy psycho must have beaten her when she tried to get away. The girl's mouth was taped, too, so she could only sob silently. It seemed like this man came all prepared, and I screamed in excruciating pain.
Water. When I sat her down on the bank, she was panting and sobbing in fear, thinking that if I caught that psycho, I would choke him into this river.
By the time he was saying all these insane things to me, I managed to free my hand.
So I decided to subdue him as Alice went to help Isabella and the rest of the ladies. I rushed to hug her with tears in my eyes as we cried.
What an asshole. So this asshole's name is Brute?
Ben's eyes widened in surprise when he saw me.
It was none other than Mr. Sherman. I screamed from the top of my lungs, and Mr. Sherman stepped back in response.
What the hell is going on here? I was just checking if the girls were sleeping.
Mr. Sherman was taken into custody for being a child molester.
The autograph on the baseball bat was hardly legible underneath the bloodstains after I beat the living shit out of Ben with it. She called the police and ambulance, though not before helping me beat the shit out of Ben even more. He's behind bars now, far away from my family.
Looks like you have no fear of death. If you don't drive right now, what is wrong with you? There is no such thing called shadow people. Stop this insanity and let me call 911 for help. Oh my God. They are watching us now. Now do you believe me? Drive! Drive! What the hell? Who are these people? Why do they look like that? They're all dead. We drove into the tunnel at full speed.
What are you doing here? I was parking the car when I saw this man coming from our backyard. I couldn't see his face, but as soon as he saw me, he ran away like a criminal. I think he was trying to get inside from this back door. I saw you looking at my house. You don't give a damn about people's privacy, it seems. What? I'm standing on my house porch and I have no interest in your house, mister. Why don't you just relax? You're new here. That's why you don't know me. No one messes with me. Well, people have jobs unlike you, idiot. We turned on the security monitor and saw that he was splashing gallons of gasoline on our back door. I opened the back door and Marshall was shocked, finding me face to face. He turned around to run away and found Kiara standing behind him. Kiara kicked him in the nuts and punched him in the face. I'm proud of my wife, and she didn't just defeat a notorious criminal, but also saved her entire family.
Did you torture and kill girls here? I'm sorry, but I swear I wasn't planning to do that with you. I don't know why I felt like believing him.
You can defend yourself with a calm mind, even if the enemy appears to be stronger than you. Just remember that.